Welcome back to the Pokémon Scramble. Today's video will feature Ariachiba versus Minasunuki, LowKey versus Flarolyn, Raptor versus Lily, and Murderbear versus Diaz. Let's get right in to round 1 action between these contestants. These teams each have a single legendary Pokémon, each have some hard-hitting attackers, and each have some bulky defenders. It'll be interesting to see which one of them can position their team in a manner that sets them up for victory. While I would say Lairon would be Mina's Pokémon to watch normally, the plethora of options that Ariachiba's team has to deal with it in fighting types and fire types will make things difficult on it. I think Mina's best play will be to get her Palafin in early and then out as fast as possible so that it can transform into hero mode and see if it can take down these fire types with its hard-hitting water attacks. Let's see which one can take the victory in Ariachiba versus Minasunuki. Mina starts off with Azelf, her legendary, and Ariachiba starts off by swapping around into Ho-Oh. Probably a decent swap because that Psychic would have probably killed Machamp. Special defense drop on the Ho-Oh, but a Sacred Fire takes Azelf down to 4%. Psychic going to deal very little to Farigiraf, as Farigiraf goes down to 20% and eats its Citrus Berry. Its ability will mean that it eats another Citrus Berry on the next turn as long as it stays in. Minior comes in, and Farigiraf does not stay in, and Acrobatics will deal damage to Machamp twice. Machamp now with a Stone Edge brings Minior down to its Shields Down form, a little faster, a little less defensive. There's that Palafin, not in as early as I'd like, but in relatively early, taking 82% of its damage and unleashing an all-out pummeling Mina's Z-move to destroy the Basculin. That is Ariachiba's only under-evolved Pokemon, but still not an insignificant contributor. Lairon takes practically nothing from the Luxray, but it is now burned, so that Facade will hit a little bit harder, not by much though. Iron Defense boosts Lairon up even further, and Luxray really needs a different move. A critical hit superpower is in fact a different move. Well done. With that Guts ability and the burn, that's boosted, it's already super effective, and the crit. A Stone Edge miss probably would have killed Ho-Oh. Well, gets a second try at it and manages to kill, so glad to see my damage calculations aren't completely off. Minior takes down Farigiraf as well. Machamp comes out. Minior choosing to Shell Smash. That's a little bit of a greedy move there because Machamp cannot miss thanks to No Guard. Dynamic Punch is going to kill it. Palafin comes in. It has a priority move in Jet Punch that is going to take the Machamp down. Hard to deal with Luxray though. Even a close combat not going to be enough here. Luxray has plenty of damage in Facade to take down Palafin's hero form. Here's Minchino, which Ariachiba is going to swap out against. Tail Slap going to hit numerous times here. One of them's going to crit, so that Pyroar down to 41% already. But a Flamethrower going to take out the Minchino, leaving only Ponyta on Mina's side. It's going to stay Fire-type, and it has the Flash Fire ability, so that's going to not only take no damage, it's going to boost its fire moves, using Flame Charge to boost its speed, now faster than Pyroar, going to kill it, now also faster than the Luxray, and the Flame Charge going to kill. We have another under-evolved Pokemon carrying the day. Ponyta, I had said was a bit adrift on the team, in fact is here to play. It takes down 2 at the end of the battle, has the right ability at the right time, and has the move to boost its speed beyond the opponents. Minasunuki advancing Ariachiba down into the loser's bracket. I am consistently impressed with how the Pokemon that I consider relatively weak on these teams are finding ways to contribute to the battles. They're doing what they can with their abilities and their moves, and really making a difference in ways that I did not expect. Minior Shell Smashing at the end there was just an unfortunate greedy decision, but the Ponyta comes in, blocks a Flamethrower with its ability, which even boosts the damage on its fire moves, then uses that fire move to boost its speed and take the win right out from under Ariachiba. Great job from Ponyta, great job to Minasunuki. Moving on to the next battle, we will see LowKey versus Flarolyn. Both of these are relatively strong teams. LowKey's team has a member that's going to struggle to contribute in Wimpod, but everything else in this battle should be relevant in one way or another. Whirlipede may struggle to add damage, but it will have the opportunity to release entry hazards and get some speed boosts, so it could still manage to do a few things here and there. Both teams have a fair bit of type overlap on the teams, so not really sure which team is going to take the win here. Bunch of water all over the place. Water a very strong type, so those are all decent Pokemon. Let's see who will win between LowKey and Flarolyn. Flarolyn starting out with Mabosstiff and LowKey with Slitherwing. An Intimidate reduces Slitherwing's attack, and Photosynthesis triggered thanks to the item. Close Combat going to be swapped out of. Mabosstiff would have probably been killed from that, as Kingler takes a few of them just fine. Stomping Tantrum going to be pretty well resisted and not do a whole lot, even though half defenses on Slitherwing. Close Combat with a second Intimidate, not quite enough to kill Mabosstiff, but another one will, but it gets out of the way and a Whirlipede takes that move just fine. With its defenses now absolutely garbage, it's going to U-turn out of the way, will Slitherwing. Crawdaunt comes in on a critical hit Bug Bite, Whirlipede getting a speed boost, probably faster, but swapped out anyway. Intimidate on the Crawdaunt is taken away as Slitherwing comes in. Mabosstiff leaves that fight again, and First Impression is going to kill it. Brings back the Mabosstiff. Now no First Impression and no speed boost means Mabosstiff finally able to go first and kills. Nidoking comes in, and a Z-move, Black Hole Eclipse, is going to kill the Nidoking from full. Clamperl comes out into a Play Rough, takes down half, and Ice Beam finally going to kill the Mabosstiff. 2-2 in deaths thus far. Ice Beam brings Ursaring to half as a Facade kills the Clamperl. We have a burned Ursaring, so that's going to deal a lot more damage thanks to Guts, but we're swapping out to Whirlipede, which has Knock Off, take away its Eviolite. Crawdaunt out of the way as a Scraggy comes in. Guzzlord is in, takes a Brick Break for 50% of its health. A critical hit knockoff, not very effective, but will remove the Eviolite, so Scraggy a lot less tanky now. Guzzlord going to get out of the way as Crawdaunt comes back in, and an alluring voice from Luminion is going to kill the Crawdaunt. Wimpod takes an alluring voice and will be forced to wimp out, leaving the battlefield without even getting to do anything. Scraggy comes in, but Wimpod going to be sacrificed so that Scraggy can be the one to terrestrialize instead of Wimpod. Probably a good choice, especially because it turns into Steel, which is very resistant to that alluring voice fairy move, but a Scald not only going to bring it to 3%, but going to burn it as well. The Scraggy going to faint, and Flarolyn will take the victory over LowKey, sending her to the loser's bracket. And Flarolyn will move on to face Minasunuki in the next round. A decent back and forth. I thought the bot actually played really well with the Mabosstiff, managing to find a way to intimidate down the Slitherwing so its attacks weren't able to kill Mabosstiff, and then also elude both the speed boost from its original outing and the First Impression from the most recent time it had come out to be able to kill it with that Play Rough. Very impressive, almost human-like there. A good effort there by LowKey's team, but Flarolyn's proved the better on the day. Our next battle will be fought between Raptor and Lily. Lily's team having 3 ground types is at a bit of a disadvantage here, with Raptor's team having 3 grass types, a water type, and an ice type, all of which will have stab super effective moves into those ground types. It will be interesting to see which team takes the upper hand here, as I would say Lily's team is more complete, but has much more in the way of a type disadvantage from this matchup. So what will matter more, stronger Pokemon or stronger type interactions? Let's see in Raptor versus Lily. Lily leads out with a Malamar and Raptor with a Poliwrath. Waterfall will deal about a quarter of the health to Malamar, and Foul Play will deal even less to Poliwrath. Drain Punch now to take away some health from Malamar and store it on yourself. Decent choice from Poliwrath there. Additional Drain Punches just going to keep Poliwrath healthy as Malamar finally has to swap out of that. Fracture comes in on a Drain Punch, and that's going to deal 28% to it. Drain Punch, just a solid strategy here, and eventually one's going to crit, and that one does. Poliwrath now at 50%. Fracture out of the way again. Runerigus in. Great time to waterfall. Had you continued to Drain Punch, that would have entirely missed, but your ability has now been stolen thanks to Wandering Spirit, so you are stuck with a useless ability until something hits you or you swap out. Waterfall hits the Dawn Fan, and it does swap out. Ice Cube comes in on the Earthquake, and Ice Face will block that first physical move, removing the Ice Face from it. Ice Spinner going to take Lickitung down under half where it beats its berry. Waterfall going to chip it away. Body Slam to the Ice Cube does a bit, but not enough. Lickitungu's Earthquake not going to deal much either, and a Citrus Berry brings Ice Cube back over half. Mamoswine eats an Ice Spinner for 18%, not that big of a deal, but a super effective Waterfall, that's that type disadvantage I was talking about, lets Lily land a critical Earthquake to kill the Ice Cube, taking the first kill of the match. Icicle Spear's going to take down the C-Dot without much trouble. A little bit of swapping issues here for Raptor as Poliwrath comes in. It's perfectly resistant to the Icicle Spear, but it won't get a chance to move because he chose to swap in a different Pokemon first, and now the Icicle Spears will kill from there. So that was something that could have easily killed the Mamoswine, but now Raptor down another Pokemon. Leaf Storm going to take Raptor's first kill as Roserade uses its White Herb to get rid of that special attack reduction. First Impression going to deal quite a bit to Roserade, but not so much that it can't Venoshock in response, killing the Fracture. Another Leaf Storm, and Roserade has more or less single-handedly brought this back to an even footing. Runerigus, even with half of Roserade's special attack removed, will die to another Leaf Storm. And a Toxic, great choice at that point from the Roserade, getting Malamar Toxic Poison so that ramping damage will come out. Foul Play not going to do as much to Venipede as you'd think because it's based on Venipede's own attack and it's not great. The Z move for Poison Spikes is actually going to be brilliant here because it gives a defense boost, and Lickitung comes out and stabs its foot on one of the spikes, and Venipede manages to get the last kill. It's on the battlefield for both of them despite never dealing direct damage. The Toxic Poison bleeds out the Malamar, and the spikes kill the incoming Lickitung. Raptor gonna take the win, never even uses his Phantump, but Venipede, clearly the MVP, and I don't say that just because it's based on my name. Okay, maybe I do. Let's move on to our final match of the day, which will be Murderbear versus Diaz. Both of these teams are headed up by strong legendary Pokemon. I think the Pokemon behind the legendaries are better on Diaz's side of the field, especially because there's no unknown over there. That makes the matchup basically into a 6-on-5. But there are some decent type matchups for Abra, for example. Abra has 2 fighting types and a poison type to go after with its psychic attacks. Having a Focus Sash means I definitely get to have at least 1, if not 2 attacks, depending on speeds, because Abra is a pretty quick Pokemon. I don't think I know of any moves on Diaz's side that will kill a Focus Sash in 1, like a multi-hit move or anything like that. But let's see if the Time Dragon Dialga or the Fire Dog Entei will be able to helm their team to a victory here in Murderbear versus Diaz. Diaz gonna start with Sandy Shocks, and Murderbear with her Dialga. Sandy Shocks lands an Earth Power that will kill Dialga instantly, thanks in part to its photosynthesis, but a critical Earth Power doesn't kill Esper? What is this number system? What is this math? Esper still dies after a flash to Sandy Shocks to reduce its accuracy. That will save the Excadrill, and Excadrill able to destroy Sandy Shocks with an Earthquake. Entei up now, and Sacred Fire will be super effective into Excadrill. This match is just 100-0 over and over. Finally something survives a move. Ceruledge going to use its Z move, Never-Ending Nightmare, and that's going to bring it down enough to a Shadow Sneak, being able to kill on the next turn. The priority move changes the speed situation there. Bitter Blade going to heal a little, but not enough, as Skrelp kills the Ceruledge. Abra, kind of the team's last hope, will kill Skrelp in 1 with Psychic. Throw, also going to take quite a bit, but not quite enough to kill. Knockoff will still let the Focus Sash do its job, so Abra will be able to land another Psychic here, but it lands it on Pachirisu. Not sure which is faster here. It is Pachirisu going to U-turn out of the way. Now Mankey versus Unknown. Unknown going to terrestrialize into electric, but Mankey going to deliver an all-out pummeling, and that is going to kill Unknown, meaning that Diaz will take the victory and will move on to the second round to face Raptor. This match was kinda fast and furious. It only took 13 turns. The Dialga dying in one, but then a critical of the same move not killing Esper surprised the hell out of me, but that defensive investment just shows you what your Pokemon is specialized to do is very important, because Dialga dies in one and doesn't get to contribute to the match. Sandy Shock's a great choice to start here. Could have started with the Entei, but Sandy Shock's clearly the right choice. Diaz moving on. So here are your winners for today: Minasunuki, Flarolyn, Raptor, and Diaz. Once again, losing just puts you down into the loser's bracket. It's a double elimination tournament, so no one's out of it just yet. But if you lost today, you need to never lose again, or you will be out of the Pokémon Scramble. Come on back for the next matches, featuring Melis Jewel versus Courage, Callisti versus Artemis, Sage faces off against Battle Penguin, and Pune does battle with Mouse.